counting the time it goes from point A to point B, right? Now, if you were to
hold on to that
place
thought for a second, Sen.
two big sticks that measure point A, point B, when the object passes through point A, it starts a timer. When it gets to point B, it stops the timer. You can measure the distance that was traveled between these 2 points and then derive the speed from it, right? That's, how conventional gets, measured, right? Because radar guns are a little inaccurate. But anyway, right? If you were to take this said chronograph and put it in the event horizon of a black hole, right? Which would then distort the space and subsequently the time around it. Moving from point A to point B would be, I don't know if it would go up or go down because I'm not that much of a scientist, but it would be fucked because the gravity, or, because the physical space, the distance between them has been manipulated. So then, theoretically, if we're deriving speed from the time that it takes to go to point A to point B, one could say that there are things that could technically travel faster than the speed of light.
Do you know what the theory of relativity says?
That's a very broad statement because the theory of relativity is a very long theory.
You could say it's relative.
But yeah, I mean, I know of the, relativity and special relativity.
You were moved.
You were moved. That wasn't me. But
no, it was me.
Yeah, I do understand a little bit of it. Now, I'm not a fucking astrophysicist. So I don't know every in and out of it.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the very briefing of it.
I know the brief of it, right? Is that, like, what is it? Who was the train analogy guy? That, like, if you're going on a train that's going light speed, then you flip the flashlight on. I'll tell you, that wasn't Einstein himself.
No, because if you were to do that, first of all, that's assuming you can get a train at light speed, which you can't. Second of all,
yeah, this is all theoretical
light
physics.
Cannot go faster than light speed. Also, basically, this is the very briefing of it. If you take, let's say,
hold on, somebody.
I'm gonna give you a version that, should hopefully explain it in a very easy to understand manner. You know how there's like a stereotype that Colombian women are like really pretty?
Yes.
Well, for example, from my perspective, I personally don't really like that. I much prefer, like, for example, European or Asian. Now, basically, that means that beauty is relative, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a word for that. It's called subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That basically.
Yeah, so what we perceive. Yeah, and so, like, and how fast are we currently going, right? Like me and you right now, we're going 0 miles an hour, but we're going. The Earth's spinning at however fast it's moving. Spinning. Yeah, and it's moving, and then the galaxy's moving. So everything is relative to the speed that you're getting it from. Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, that's one of the main things that the theory of relativity says. One of the other main things that the theory of relativity says is that the faster you go, the more you're distorting space, as you are also increasing your mass.
Right.
Now, that basically means that when you're going at the speed of light, time is no longer a concept that is quote-unquote felt. So, for example, let's say that there was a photon created at the Big Bang. Okay?
Right.
Now, the Big Bang happened 13.8 billion years ago. If said photon that was created in the Big Bang were to hit your eye right now, for us it's been 13.8 billion years. For the photon, not even a nanosecond has happened.
Right. Right.
Now,
but I mean,
basically, basically what that tells us is that if you were to go faster than light, you wouldn't be traveling through space but through time.
So then we have to go faster than time.
No, you needed to go at a speed where you are going
Well,
back in
technically,
time.
if in special relativity, it does toy with the fact that going faster than light would, in essence, be time travel.
Thank you, Sen. Very cool. That's literally what I just said.
Um, yeah, but way I said it was way cooler.
Yeah, but Dad says it in a way that sounds funny. You just make it.
I love it though, Marquez. I've missed these conversations.
Marquez just says things so deadpan, it always sounds
But
like
you
he's being
have-
a dick.
I have like thought or like read some. Well, I say read papers, but it's not like they're super crazy stuff. But like the transversal wormhole theories. That
Yeah,
it's
basically.
distorting. Yeah, it's distorting space so much that you can punch a hole from one part in space and time to another part in space and time.
Not in space and time, just in space. Time is still continuous.
I
So,
say
for
space
example,
and time because with the bending of space, you can subsequently have the bending of.
not exactly. So, if you were to step through a wormhole that traveled, I don't know, from Earth to a planet that was, let's say, 20 light years away, you would have traveled in theory 20 light years.
Right.
Like, time would have still been a thing that happened even though you weren't directly in space. It is more like a shortcut rather than anything else. Like but like that's not the only theory that there is. There's also the white hole theory, which is that basically, since matter needs to remain constant, if the black hole were to eat something, it needs to come out from another way, and that is the white hole.
All right.
I personally don't believe in white holes.
I don't know. Yeah, it makes a little. Well, the principle to why some people want or I say want, but the reason why the wide hole theory kind of fits into place a little bit is because you're taking because the laws of conservation of mass or of matter, right, still apply.
Yeah,
Um,
however, the general law that everyone knows is matter cannot be created nor destroyed. Right?
right, yeah.
Now, the entirety of it is matter is that neither energy nor matter can be neither created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed or transferred. In the case
Right.
of a black hole, what you're doing
It
would be
transfers it all
transferring
into
it and
energy.
transforming it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I do, and that's why I don't really think that the white hole thing either. I'm just playing. Because I know a guy that's like, well, he's a conspiracy theorist from hell, but he's mentioned that theory to me a couple of times before. And it would also, the way he put it too is that, like how pulsars shoot off all that electricity, that electrons and mass. Like the black hole, even though it converts it to energy, right? The energy still has to do something. It can't just be in a state of like where it's not doing anything.
Also, what
Energy
pulsars
has to be
take out
energy.
is electromagnetic radiation, so basically a lot more gamma radiation.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. But the principle, the analogy is that the pulsar is shedding excess energy, radiation. But he would imply that the black holes are very similar. It's that energy or matter has to be going somewhere, doing something. We've not observed
Yeah,
that yet,
he
but
should have some. No, he needs to do some more rating because it is something that we're already aware of and already know what's going on.
that's great then.
Yeah,
But
so basically, it's a really interesting idea, and it has led it to one of my favorite mega constructions that are in theory possible, which is the Penrose sphere.
What's that?
Basically, the Penrose sphere, to put it simply, imagine encompassing a black hole with a lot of mirrors.
To do what?
Now, you open the mirrors slightly and let in a little bit of gamma radiation, and then you immediately close everything so that the gamma radiation starts like bouncing in between the mirrors, right?
Right?
Now, as it enters the event horizon, it gets taken. However, there is a response to it, and that response is in terms of more energy. So, in theory, you are creating energy
Are
from
you
essentially
implying that this
nothing.
is some sort of massive nuclear fusion with black holes, but with gamma radiation? And instead of nucleuses breaking down, you're just throwing radiation at a black hole and harvesting it?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's metal as fuck, dude.
And in theory, if you were to then just let it go and just let it continue and never harvest the energy that you are creating, you could basically create a supernova.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. What happens when that motherfucker has a meltdown?
Oh, it explodes supernova.
Yeah. Have we seen black holes supernova? I don't think we have we?
No, because basically what's going on for it to go, how is it that you said it?
Supernova?
No, for it to get to have a meltdown, I think you said.
Meltdown, yeah.
Basically what you're doing is that you are holding in that area so much gamma radiation and so much energy that cannot escape that it basically creates an explosion.
Right. Damn. Yeah, no, that's crazy though.
Yeah, it's in there, and that's called a black hole bomb.
Oh. Yeah, that's wicked.
Yes, and
Um,
like the best thing about Penrose spheres is the fact that black holes, in theory, last trillions of years. So if you were to make a civilization that lived in a ring world that was powered by a Penrose sphere, said ring world would be able to last trillions of years without the need for basically anything. Problem being overpopulation, so you would basically not have any problems with resources or energy. Yet you would be creating enough energy to be considered a Type 2 civilization alone. Wait, Type 2 or Type 1? I think Type 2.
I think type 2.
No, yeah,
I
Type
know
2,
what you mean though.
definitely. I still remember someone asking me why we couldn't have a Type 5 civilization. Which is pretty funny, because Type 5 civilization essentially means that you basically can create universes in small areas. So it means that you basically are producing enough, and like you can harvest all of the energy in the entirety of the universe.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, because
You
Type
know the
1.
first person that's alive today, or there's one person, or the first person that will never die is alive today.
What does that mean?
Um, so as kooky as it sounds, we are getting somewhat close to the point of cybernetic implementation, right? Because if you, most people's brains, right, don't straight up deteriorate. What really kills you, your other organs, brain can no longer rely on those, but you can replace all that shit. And
Honestly, Sen, like, I'm gonna be completely honest, I think that what's gonna keep us alive in the future isn't gonna be cybernetic implants, but genetic engineering.
that too, that too. I mean, those
Because,
are options. Those are options. But I mean, like with Neuralink, um, all the crazy shit that's going on. I mean, it's not unreasonable to at least believe that there will be major breakthroughs, just us as a species, in our lifetimes.
yeah, I agree, but like, again, like, I think that what's gonna keep us alive is genetic engineering, since we can essentially stop ourselves from aging by stopping the formation of telomeres. Now, telomeres is basically genetic deterioration that happens in the variants of our DNA when we do mitosis. When our DNA is being replicated for mitosis, that is when telomeres is started to occur due to the fact that the way in which our genetic code is read for mitosis is on a 5 to 3. And Jesus Christ, I'm gonna die.